Hello everyone. Right. We are going to make a chopper seat. A seat for a chopper. That's what we're going to do, right? We've done the bars last week. Look, I'm not going to go for everything what we've done, but you know, we've narrowed guards, we've built oil tanks, and yeah, I just said I wasn't going to go through what we've done, so I'm not going to. All right, so what we're going to do, I think this is the best way to do it. We're going to put a piece of this nice thick paper on it. We're going to trace around it. Then we're going to make it all come up to here. I think the plan is I'm going to come up maybe all the way. I don't know if I'm going to go that way with it, but I think I'm going to go to about here. I've got to kind of think this through a little bit. What I'm going to actually do, if I'm going to come up all the way, or I'm going to finish off around the tail light number plate area. This may be the spot to finish it off, just because when it gets up here, trying to keep a nice finish when it's going over all these curves and that, and then trying to weld it or whatever, I think it's going to be a bit too hard. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to finish it here, and then I'll have a nice big plate to finish it on, and if I want to bring it up a little bit just freely in the air, it'll be able to support itself without having to be attached to anything. So I think this is where its last mounting spot's going to be. I do want it to come up higher. I don't know what to do, if to have a gap around it, bring it right up the top, all that sort of stuff. I've got to have a think about that. But to start with, we've got to make a paper. We've got to make a paper template. We've got to make a paper template. To start with, we've got to make a paper template, and then we're going to go from there. All right, so we're going to make a paper template, then we're going to put it on, then we're going to trace it on the metal, and there we go, we're going to have a seat. We've got to do some ups and downs and bibs and bobs and all that sort of stuff. So look, let's get into it. Something important to remember, I've got a king queen seat on another iron head chopper, and it is really, I don't know if you can see it from there, it comes up and it finishes about here. It feels like it's way too short, it needs to be extended. So this time I'm going to make sure that I come up to at least here. I didn't make the other one, it was just I got it second hand, but and it was just, yeah, really small. It's like, it starts like here, goes out, and it feels like you've only got half your ass on it. It feels like you're sliding off it all the time. So this one I'm going to make nice and make it come up a bit further. don't know if I already explained this, but I've just, we're a bit further along now. And look, this is just a bit of a rough cut out. This is how the back, I'll continue this bit on. This is how the back will be finished off. I'll probably put a nut cert in there, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have the clearance with the tyre. So not really sure what I'll do there yet. I'll work that out when we get to it. Everything's pretty much done. Obviously you can't finish these off just without a bit of a chamfer here. I don't know if you can. This is the first time I've done this, but I'm thinking you can't. It'll just look a bit weird giving it to the upholsterer like that. And everything is these here. These are roughly where that centre bar comes down. It ends about here, but it lifts the seat off. So I'm going to put a couple of little folds in there to bring the edges down. And this bit here, this will stay up like this, where that gap is off the guard, hopefully with the upholstery tucked under it. It will close that up a little bit. With this here, I've just roughly cut this out in this shape. Is it going to stay the same? Don't know. It's only roughly done, so it gives you a bit of a chance. Well, the next thing I'll do is pull this completely off. I'll do it in two sections. I'll probably do this seat pan. That way I'll be able to get that fold in it. Then I will do this piece here. Sorry, I'll do it in 3 sections. So I'll probably do it in 3 sections. I'm going to do the seat pan, then so I can put that fold in that separately. Then this bit here, so I can come past our backrest and shape this into it, and then I'll bring the backrest down. So it'll probably end up with some welds along the inside here and up through here. At this stage, I can't really see too many issues, but you know, as it goes on and it progresses, we'll probably find out some things. And but I haven't really. I've had a look at king queen seats. Luckily, I've got a king queen on my iron head chopper, and I couldn't really figure out how to get this bit here working. All the photos I've seen, they sort of either finish like that or they come out and sort of go like this, but I can't see how they could connect it up. So I think this will be a little bit better way, and you should be able to, the upholsterer, or if I decide to do it, I don't think I'm gonna bother, decides to do it, they can get a bit of shape in there, and they'll muck around with that sort of thing. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, next step, I'll pull this off and we'll start tracing our bits to metal, and that's when I'll make sure that we're pretty square in certain spots. Make sure things are done, especially these bits. I'll try and make them a bit more smoother. This top bit here, it's pretty hard to get anything. I mean, you can't make it too perfect, I don't think, because the sissy bar's not perfect, the guard's not perfect. So if you make it all crazy in line, like even the frame, the weld-on frame that we bought to cut and weld onto this to make it a hardtail, that's not going to be symmetrical. Just looking at it, I can tell that it's not. I don't know if it should be, but it's close. It's close. And but look, it's all going to move around in bits and pieces. So the best thing is we do it in 3 bits, put it on there, and then we'll tack it into place, and we'll line things up how we've got to line them up and do what we got to do. All right, around at the workshop now. Got me steel. Not going crazy thick, but thick enough. I don't know what that is. Probably around about 1.6. 1.6 it'd have to be, I reckon. I think it doesn't really matter. By the time you put everything in there, get things upholstered, and well, it's going to sit there. I reckon you could use anything as small as 1 mil, anything up to as thick as you want it. I've got my patterns. I'm going to change these aren't going to be on there. I'm going to actually once I've made these other things, then I will make it so I can link the two of these up with a bit of a curve up to it. All right, gonna mark this out, and then we're gonna make some cuts.
up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough.
Okay, so we've got everything cut out now. We've got our backrest. We've got our piece that goes over the back guard, and we've got our pan. Now, I'm not sure whether to. I think what I'm going to do is mark a line just down here. I'm going to put 2 bends in the pan. That way, from about this point, that way, hopefully, this will stay semi-clear, and I can tap that around the frame a little bit if I need to. If I put one in the middle, straight down a fold, it would work, but I'm going to have a jagged, like triangle bit where it goes onto the actual tube. So I'm thinking 2 lines. I did say that in the early days, and I think it's best off sticking with that for the time being. The predicament I'm in is the bike's at home, the guard's at home, and so I don't know what sort of radius to roll this to. I have got a small set of rollers at home, but what I'm probably going to do is put a little bit of a roll in it while we're here, and if it's not quite right, I'll take that out, or I'll put a bit more in it when we get home. It's just a bit of mucking around, but that's the only way you can really do it. Now, the next thing I've got to do, I might be best off showing you this actually after I roll this, but once this is rolled, this will connect on like this. And what I need to do is I need to bring something up. I need to bring a piece of metal up, over, and then along it to give it that king-queen look. And problem is I can't do that until I have that curve in it. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of a curve in it, take a little bit of excess material home with me, and hopefully I'll have enough to be able to make what I need to make. Just not really too sure how much I need, but I think that's the best option. I'll just take the rest home after I get the rough. This is the main stuff, and the other stuff I can just cut with the angle grinder at home. I don't need the guillotine anymore, so all right. Well, I'll put a little bit of a roll in this, and hopefully I don't over roll it. This is a bit of a silly thing to do. I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to put a little bit in it. I always say this, and then I put a bit more, and then I fuck it. All right, let's try it. All right, not the best light. This, we're just going to start to run this through just a little bit. Like that. Now, we need to come up a bit. It's really important with rolling stuff not to go too crazy to start with, or you end up with a big curve in it really quick. It's also important not to go too slow, or you end up with a sore arm really quick. Now, I'm going to bring that up a little bit now, because it's all right. I'm going to stop, because I know what I'm like. I may have even went too far as it was. And look, it's easier to put a roll in things. It's easier to put a bend in things than it is trying to get it out. And that, whew, I'm not too sure of, but it will squash up a little bit, and it will move around a tiny bit. Obviously, the thicker material you go with, the harder it is to get it to do it. But in general, something like this, we can normally sort of fix it. It's got to move. It's got to be flexed about a bit anyway by hand. That's just I'm not going to get it perfect. Okay, so I've got my seat pan. There's probably a couple of other ways to do this. I think some people recess a pipe in there, kind of like how when we done the fire extinguisher. So we're going to go from these points, which isn't a big drama, and that will do us anyway until we get home and we've got the bike in front of us. We'll just kick them pans down and we'll leave the middle up just a little bit. And we can always give it a bit more of a bend. I just like doing it here because I've got the bigger folders and everything like that. Everything's just quicker. I'm not trying to fold something over a bench at home or using me little miniature stuff that I've got up in the shed. Alright, again, sorry about the lighting. So, don't know if you can see that. That's the fold in it. It's just slight. Again, if it's too crazy, you know, you can always sort of push it down or give it a bit of a hammering. There's going to be a few other little bits and pieces once this back bit goes on here too. That's the wrong way around. Once this goes on here, there's going to be a few little bits and pieces too that I'm going to have to make to come up and link up to this. I'm pretty confident there is anyway, because I can't see how it can just finish here, come around the back and then come up over this and look any good. I've got to do a little bit of research on that, because as far as I can tell from looking at another king queen seat, it kind of looks like the fabric, the edges of it come from here and then it just sort of tapers up onto it. Whether that can be done afterwards with the foam when you shape it and it hangs over, I don't know. I'm not an upholsterer. That's one of the things I can't do. All right, so I've had to put a little bit more of a bend in this middle bit. Now I've started to tack this back bit up. That's how we're sort of looking. I'm not too sure how I'm gonna mount it 100% yet. I think I'm gonna use like a nutsert if I've got the room, but things might change. I'm not too sure yet. I've just clamped the front down, so that'll keep it a bit more stable, because no doubt there'll be a little bit of distortion in this thing. I really want to get the sides done, and then I really got to start working out how we're going to mount it, and then I've got to get it to an upholsterer, get it upholstered. While it's away getting upholstered, I'm going to try and get this bike ready to go. Anyway, it's I'm probably 10 steps ahead there. All right, let's weld it. This is one of them things where, because I'm not going to do the upholstery or upholstering, I don't really know. I mean, I've never done it, but I mean, I've built seats for a hot rod before, and I know how much they can sculpt it and everything once it's there. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going a bit too far with this. I'm getting it into the shape that I kind of want when it's finished, and I don't really need to do that. I need to, because whatever I make this as, it's going to have foam over the top of it, and then it's going to be like sculpt it out even more, then it's going to have, you know, it's going to have cushioning and all that sort of stuff. I don't know all the fucking technical words, but so it's going to end up looking a lot different, and a lot of it can be shaped afterwards. So I'm just thinking about how much effort I'm going to try and make this right, where I probably need to just get I need to cut it down a bit to allow for a bit of, to compensate for the for all the layers of padding and stuff they're going to put on there. Okay, I've just been able to think about this. I think it's right bringing it up. It's right bringing it up, but it doesn't need this in it. I reckon it can come up and then sort of come across at about, well, yeah, probably at that height. Surely this bit can be built up. The upholsterer can build that up with some padding. They'd have to have something to be able to do it. And hopefully, for that little hump that I want to try and get in it, I'm going to, I don't know, I haven't spoken to the upholsterer. For that little hump, I'm going to rely on the upholsterer to be able to get that in there and build it up with some stuff. Surely that can be done. While we're at it, we'll do the pieces from the side as well. These have got to sort of go, I guess, from this edge and then kind of curve up. Right, so we've got our pieces of metal now for the queen side of the queen seat cut out. Now that's wrong way. That's roughly there how that's going to sit, and what I was talking about before is I was actually going to bring it up and do this sort of thing, but look, I think that can be done with upholstering. I know I've said that, I won't keep repeating it. All right, so I actually curiosity got the better of me and obviously saved me a bit of work. I just messaged and sent a few photos through to the upholsterer that's going to do this for me. He's done heaps of work for me before. He's really good at what he does, and he's easy to talk to. I sent him through a photo of roughly what I wanted and how I've got this open at the moment. He said that's fine. That's how most people do them anyway. Everything else will cover it up, the foam and the covering. So that's going to save me a bit of time welding, putting the sides on there. Now what I'll do is I can pretty much, and it's heaps better because I can actually now slide this up a little bit more and get the angle on it a little bit better without being limited to the sides and this arch. So that's going to help out a lot. It's going to make things heaps easier. I'm going to get that welded on there, and then I'm going to move on to mounting it. As you can see, these corners were actually sticking up, so that's why I've got some clamps on them. I've just done this one and run a, I don't know if you can see it there, but I've run the TIG just across here, no fillet wire or anything like that, just quickly run it across, put some heat into it, and hopefully it gives just enough heat to keep that bent down. It's a little thing that sometimes works. This has got a lot of angles going all other ways. I can always pull it off and actually just tap it over with a hammer or something like that. I just thought I'd give this a quick go. I've done one side, I'm going to do the other. You just got to watch that it doesn't go somewhere else. It might raise up the sides up here a little bit. That's all right. In this case it is anyway, but let's have a look. it should be enough just to put a little bit of heat in there. And because I'm pulling it over so hard, just to kick down them corners. Yeah, welding's not the only thing you can use a TIG for. You can use it to actually put some heat into things. I'll show you. I wonder if you can actually see it. Oh yeah, you kind of can. So if you have a look, this is the weld, or not the weld, this is where I've heated it along here, and you can pretty much see where it changes the angle. I've done the same on both sides. Look, it's just a quicker way of kind of doing it than pulling it off. You might not have seen that before, so it's not like a thing that everyone does or anything like that. It's just something that I just found out myself one day while mucking around. No different than using an oxy to get a bit of heat in somewhere and bend it. I'll let it cool down now, and I won't go undoing these straight away. I'll let it cool down and see how, let it all rest, and then I can undo it and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I've just let it cool down a little bit. I just took the clamp off the other side. I'll show you that in a second. And that side there, a little bit of spring back, but that's about right. So before, this here was sitting up about 10 mil. So just something simple like that while it's on the bike saves a lot of mucking around. I should have just measured up, marked them out at the right length so they were symmetrical, so they're the same, but it doesn't really matter. I was just trying to get the corners down. And here's the other one. I've got a little bit popping up there, and that is because I didn't finish it up here. So I might be able to bring that back down if I put a clamp on that and just bring that little bit of a bow out. It's not really going to matter. By the time it's covered, you're not going to see it. It's just, I know it's going to be there, so I'll just quickly do that. You could give it even a bit of a tap with the hammer, and that'd bring it out. No one would ever muck around with this little bit. It's literally out 1 mil. It's just, I know it's there, and it's my own fault because I should have made a mark so I knew where to go to, but I just sort of rushed it in to see if see if I could get it down. That's it. Done. Okay, what I'm thinking here, mark it, drill it, tap the frame, put a bolt in it, fucking done. Up here, I've got a nutsert kit that I've never used it. And I'm keen to see how it works. So you pretty much drill in there, use it like a pop rivet gun, put it in, puts the thread in there, done. I think that's what I'm going to do here. Then it will have a thread on the inside that looks nice and tidy. Down the bottom, down the bottom, I'm thinking about actually getting rid of this altogether. One, it'll look ugly as fuck sitting there. It'll look ugly as all shit. I've checked out the other king queen seat I've got, and it doesn't have one of them. And from memory, when I mounted it, it only had the front mount and it had a mount here, and that's it. So I can't see why I can't do the same with this one. Once it locks in there, you know, it's not really going anywhere. gonna have a think about that, but I'm gonna start on these 2 mounts to start with before I cut this off. And I've really got to start now making sure that the rear fender is sitting where I need it. It's kind of not. It's actually got a little bit of a twist in it. So, but because I've loosened and tightened things up so much, and when I was doing the battery box and the oil tank, I had to sort of loosen it, and it's a bastard getting them bolts in it and holding everything in the same spot as what it was and putting the spaces where I need them. So if I don't use this, it's going to take all that stress away. I don't have to worry about it until the final assembly. I don't have to worry about the guard until the final assembly. If I do decide to use it, I've really got to get that guard smicko. If not, that's not going to be perfectly in the centre. And if the guard's not sitting right, then the seat's not going to be sitting right. Everything's going to be kicked off. So I'm leaning towards not using it. And my other King Queen that's mounted that way, I can't see why I can't do the same thing again. And a little bit in the back of my head is, if I get rid of this, I can always run another mount to stabilise it down here if I need to. So that little bit of extra effort to put that tab on there, that was probably wasted, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I'm just thinking if I can utilise it, but I actually think it'd be better without it. I'm thinking of the bike painted now, having a King Queen seat down there, and then you've got this, like, let's say the seat's black, this black tab just sitting here on a painted guard. One, it's going to be shit for the paint, you know, and oh well, if it's covered, it's probably not going to be too bad. But yeah, I don't need it. I'm gonna fucking piss that thing off, and we're gonna do this, mount the front, and we're going to nutsert the back. We've never used a nutsert, so we're going to try that out and give that a go. All right, get stuck into that now. Now, as soon as I take this front clamp off, everything's going to move around all over the place. So I'm going to re-clamp it at the back here and try and get everything a bit more lined up before I centre punch that and start drilling holes and threading things. Alright, don't really know the best way to film this, but okay, so you can squash them up a bit too tight. I'd use a pair of pliers on this nut to get a bit of leverage on it, and now it's starting to come out, so I think it'll be alright to leave in there. This is aluminium, this nutsert. I would suggest using mild steel, or I think they call them zinc, sorry. Yeah, steel zinc coated, steel zinc coated. Ones, thread will last a lot better. This isn't going to be pulled in and out, and if there's ever an issue, I'm sure I can just trim it off and chuck another one in there. But look, they look tidy. I like them, and saves you doing a lot of welding. Like, once you got used to using these, you just really wouldn't have a problem. Now, I reckon the issue is going to be using it on thick material, because I thought it was going to start squashing from out here, but they start down here. Now, is that because that's where the material is? They start there, or is that because that's just how they all are? So if we use thick stuff, is it going to start where the thick stuff is? We're going to find out, because we're going to try it anyway. I'm curious. If I don't try it, I'll never know. Because we know what it does. So there's a bit of slop there between it takes up, but there's got to be a little bit there. This fucking, right, there we go. Right, I don't know, maybe you allow around about the thickness of the material. Oh, that doesn't, yeah, I can feel that compressing about there, so I'm going to go with that. Just do that lock nut up. And I don't know if this is 100% yet. There we go. Alright, so I guess this could go on in a bit crooked maybe, or it's going to pull to where it needs to be. Let's give this a go. Now we'll undo it. It's undoing pretty easy. While that's in there, actually, I'm going to give it a bit of a wiggle and see if it is in there tight. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. I won't give it too much more, because I just give it that little bit extra crimp, and I can feel that being a little bit tighter, so I'm going to leave it. Now, that'll undo that. And there we go. Not bad. That is fucking solid as a rock. I don't know if you meant to use them on this thickness material, but that's in there really good. Look, if it fails down the track, it fails. If it comes out or whatever, at this stage I can't really see it. I'd be a lot more happy if it was steel. Then I could near guarantee it wouldn't come out. Being aluminium, you know, it's with the vibrations of the bike and that, it may slog out, but once the thread goes in there too, of the bolt itself, it's not going to, you know, it can't go too far. You know, that'll keep pressure pushing out as well. But that's a tidy little thing. You know, it's not, if you don't want to be welding shit all the time, welding bungs in there and that's a really good option, and it's tidy. So look, I guess that's it for now. I'll shape these up. I'll probably take a photo of it. I'll put it up at the end. Maybe I'll muck around, trim that up, and that's it. I'll chuck some photos up, and I'll probably end it here. This will be like part one, and when I get it back from the upholsterer, I will put up part two. That will pretty much be me installing it back on the bike, and we'll have a bit of a look at it. By that stage, hopefully, I mean, I've put my throttle cable in, I've put my clutch cable. By that stage, I should hopefully, this bike should be starting, so we can take it for a bit of a burn the way it is. You know, got to wait on the seat now. So we'll be able to use it the way it is for a little bit, not long at all. I just want to make sure that everything's going to work fine. I've got to get a chain the right length because the arse end is lengthened when you put them on. The original chain doesn't fit, it's not long enough. So I've got to look into that, see what size chain I need. All right then, well, that's it. I'll chuck the photos up. Remember, like and no. Oh, I nearly forgot something before I go doing all this. I think I filmed it and made a note of it, but in here there was some bits. So I've already made these, right? But I don't know whether to put them in there or not, or they shape, or you know, the upholsterer is going to shape things. But I will give these to him. I know he works on his own cars and stuff, he can weld. So I'm going to just give these to him and say, if you need them, they're made. I don't know what he's going to want to do there. I'm pretty confident you don't finish it like this. You always have something in there. You would have to, I'm guessing, to build it up and then to go to bring it into it. But as I say, I've never done it before. So, you know, I'm learning with this bit. Okay, I was just about to wrap it up, but this here was getting movement, or it is getting movement, side to side, right? So I've had to, so I can get all this lined up, I've put another nutsert down in there. So instead of using that tab that we're going to use, you know, we cut that off. I thought these two would hold it, but it does sort of, it will move around. So I'll put another nutsert in there. I'll run a bar or another plate like that across there and run that through there, and that'll secure it off down the bottom. One, it'll help with the flex in the it'll help with the flex on the sissy bar a little bit, but two, it's going to stop the seat from moving around. The seat will be locked in solid then. All right, so that's it. Now wrapping it up.